हरि ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः अद्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि तन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। In the last class, we stopped with Nivritta Ajnanasya Kritakrityatya Pradarshanam. Nivritta Ajnanasya Kritakrityata Pradarshanam. That means when the Kritakrityata will happen only when the Ajnana Nivritta takes place. एवं हि विरक्तस्य प्रत्यगात्म विषयं विज्ञानं श्रोतुं मन्तुं विज्ञातुं च समर्थ्यम् उपपद्यते न अन्यथा. So only when a man have virakta, that detachment from what? From the worldly object, and then he should have a desire for pratyagatma vishayam vijnanam shrotum mantum vijnatum cha samarthyam. Only that samarthyam can come only when this detachment is effective. एतस्मात् च प्रत्यगात्म ब्रह्म विज्ञानात् संसार बीजम् अज्ञानं काम कर्म प्रवृत्ति कारणम् अशेषतो निवर्तते. From that, besides, not only that, this viraktasya pratyagatma brahma vijnanat, due to the pratyagatma brahma vijnanam, samsara bijam ajnanam. It is a term. Samsara bija means samsarasya bijam, the cause for the samsara or the worldly bondage, and that is ajnanam. And in what form is it appearing? Kama karma pravritti karanam. And that ajnanam, kamam, karma, this triputi is what is there famous in the Advaita. The ajnanam, that the absence of the right knowledge generates a delusion, and thereby we get into a kama or desires, and the desires prompt us to do karma pravritti for acquiring and making it, because the separation is felt, and therefore the separation makes us feel that that can be acquired, possessed, etc. So that becomes asheshataha nivartate. When it is completely removed is the ajnana nivritti. What does it means by? So ajnana doesn't only remove the ajnana. Ajnanasya karan ajnanena yat karanam bhavati. What caused by the ajnana, like kama karma pravritti, that also is getting removed. Tatra ko moha kashoka ekatvam anupashyata. Tatra means after that. Ko moha, what will be the desire? Ko kaha shokaha ekatvam anupashyata. When the separatedness falls away, this is the Ishavasya Upanishad 7th mantra. Ekatvam anupashyate. That oneness, that all those separations what we felt, and the objects and subject and the process of kama karma, etc., all those things are due to avidya. And then when the moha, avidya, when the avidya is removed, there is no delusion anymore left, because what will happen is, the reason is that he sees ekatvam anupashyata. He sees oneness in everything. How does it? Tarati shokam atmavit. That is the Chandogya Upanishad, 7th chapter. One who is atmavit, one who knows atma, he crosses over tarati shokam. He crosses all the ocean of sorrow due to the knowledge of atma. Atma vijnanam is the reason why he becomes a atmavit. Brahmavit brahmaiva bhavati evam vida atmavit. We are all atmas. So but we do not know our nature. So the moment we know our nature, we can remove the samsara bandha, and we see vidyade hridaya grandhi chidhyande sarva samshayaha. That also comes from the 7th Chandogya Upanishad, 7th month only. Vidyade hridaya grandhi. This grandhi, or the knot, which the mind makes due to the ajnana, binding what? Actually, it is not really binding. It is in the sense that, the ignorance clutches or veils the knowledge, because of which we feel we are the mind. That is why that vidyade means it tears open, or it breaks open. Hridaya grandhi. The grandhi means the knot between the mind and the self, because the self is no karta, no bhokta. There is no doership, no enjoyership. There is only sakshi there. That in the presence, even sakshi is there only when there is appearance. Otherwise, even sakshi is not there. That is our deep sleep state. So in that deep sleep state, we have removed the grandhis of hridaya, the mind, because the mind is not there in the deep sleep. We know that. And chidhyande sarva samshayaha. Chidhyande means is cut. It's uprooted. All samshayas, sarva samshayaha. All doubts are product of ajnana. So when ajnana nivritti takes place, then these samshayas, which is there coming from why am I limited, then how I am feeling that limited by the body, why I am seeing the world as separate from me, and I am enjoying the objects and enjoying both enjoyment, suffering, etc., is seen from the point of view of the individual. That is result of a hridaya grandhi. The knot the mind makes onto itself, identifying itself to be the karta and the bhokta, the doer and the enjoyer. Really speaking, the mind itself is a inert matter which has no power, but being very subtle, it has the quality of reflecting the awareness. That is why the mind is the place where the reflected consciousness takes place. So when that, like a mirror, when it is reflecting the light, everything what reflects through the mirror can be seen. So the reality in the mirror is nothing but light. What the objects we see in the mirror has no real existence. It is the light from the objects which is falling on the darpanam or the mirror, and we feel the objects being perceived through the mirror being really existent. That is why when we are dressing ourselves in front of a mirror, we know that we exist in front of the mirror, but we are doing the decoration looking at the reflection. So all this happens because of the not understanding the reality of the world which is getting reflected in the mind is not really a separate existence there outside. The experiences are felt in the mind, the objects are outside. How does the knowledge of the externally abiding of the objects being perceived in the mind. These are all big subjects which will be discussed and removed during the Advaita studies. But the basic cause for that is not knowing the reality of the self or the individual. This is what it says, that when this, what you call in the Sankara Bhashya for the Brahma Sutra, it is mentioning that Idaretara Adhyasa, the mind or the non-self is superimposed on the self, and the qualities of the self, of the principle of knowing, is superimposed on the inert mind, and therefore midhanikaranam, that means mixing up of the identities takes place in the mind. That is what is here mentioned as Hridaya Granthi. So when that is broken, all the doubts or the ignorance is gone. In the Brihadaranya Vartika Sureshwaracharya says that it is Ajnana Tathedu Nirakarana Vartmana Atmana Atmatvam Siddhyate. That is Anatma Tathedu. There is a Anatma which is other than Atma, as we are experiencing that we are the limited individual. Tathedu, the cause for that is the ignorance. Basically, Tathedu Nirakarana Vartmana. By the process of removing that ignorance, Atmana Atmatvam Siddhyate. The Atma realizes itself. It is not that the Atma is to be known separately. Atma is there always. But the Ajnana Avarana Rupena, or like a dirt covering a mirror, we don't see our reflection in the mirror. When the dirt is removed from the mirror, the reflection is very clear. Same way, when the mind Chitta Shuddhi takes place, that the reality of our nature can be understood. Otherwise, the samshaya or the Ajnana Samshaya Viparya are the dirts on the mind, which covers our real identification. Shiyande chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare ityadi shurdibhyascha. When the one and that is both cause and effect is realized, paravare means both the cause and effect. The knot of the heart, tasmin drishte, shiyande chasya karmani, gets untied and all his doubts are resolved and all karma is consumed. So all karmani tasmin drishte paravare, in that cause and effect, when you understand that there is no shiyande asya karmani, in all the karmas which he think is there in him, he will say neither he was a karta nor he was a bhokta. Therefore there is no kartrutva bhoktrutvam in reality. So karma, if there is no doership, there is no karma or karma phala which is affecting us. This way we become free from the delusions of avidya kama karma. Now Acharya Shankara is taking up a objection from an opponent, where the opponent still doesn't want to leave his nitya naimitya karmas or the veda vihita karmas. You should understand, when we are studying Sankara Bhashya, we are not talking about the modern world. We are talking about the Vedic period, when people were knowing only Vedic related activities and Vedic injunctions and Vedic rules and regulations. So to extrapolate it to our day-to-day life will be inappropriate. Here the opponent or Pradivadi is asking a question. Karma sahitadapi jnanadedatva siddhyati iti chet. Suppose he is saying that why this knowledge can happen even with the karma sahita. By doing the karma alone, again karma and jnana, let it be together samuchayavada. Why cannot it go together? So the Shankara replies that na, it will not happen. The reason is na vajasayaneke tasya anya karanatvat avachanat jaya me syat iti prasutya putrenayam lokat jayo na anyena karmana pitruloko vidya devalokah इत्यात्मनः अन्यस्य लोकत्रयस्य कारणम् उक्तं वाजसनेके तत्र एव च परिव्राज्य विधाने हेतुरुक्तः किं प्रजया करिष्यामो येषां न अयम् आत्मा अयं लोकः. This Vajasanayake means Brihadaranya Upanishad. Brihadaranya Upanishad has got another name, Vajasanayiki. So there what he says is that in that there is a Jaya me syad, let me have wife. See, no, because in the Brihadaranya Upanishad, that combination of rites and meditation has been spoken as a cause for a different result, not for Jnana Nivritti. What happens is that in the starting the text, let me have a wife, Jaya me syad. Then then this world of man is to be won through son alone and by no other right. The world of mains, that is Pitraloka, through rites, and the world of God through meditation. So this is talking about Bhadya Sahitam. That means the Vedic karma to be done along with the wife is what is prescribed, for which first requirement is Jaya, let me get a son, and with the son as a adhigari, uttaradhigari for the kriya, he will perform the duties. Some rites are done for Pitraloka and some are done for the Devaloka. And here the rights and duties led to attainment of the three worlds are different from the self. There is no reference to in the attaining love or Atmajnana as part of the Upanishad itself. And the reason is that in the ending word is that embracing the renunciation is that we shall achieve through children, we to whom the self we have attained this goal. So all these are indicating that these methods, karma sahita karma, is for what is Devaloka and Pitraloka and Brahmaloka. Itya ayam atma ayam atma ayam lokah iti karishyamo yesham na kim prajaya karishyamo. What can I do with the praja means son. For atma ayam lokah. That is what it is there in the Brihadaranya Upanishad. Tatra ayam hetvartah. There is a hetvartam further. Praja karma tu samyukta avidyadihi manushya pidrileva lokatraya sadhanaihi anatma loka pradipatti karanai kim karishyamaha. So he is summarizing this full answer into a simpler sentence. The explanation is that what we shall do with the progeny and rites and meditation combined with the rites which are means of attainment of the three worlds, that is Manushya, Pitru Deva Loka, either this is self, and the causes are attainment of the three worlds of men, Pitru and gods. Nacha asmakam lokatrayam anityam sadhana sadhyamishtam yesham asmakam swabhavikaha ajo ajaro amruto abhayo na vardate karmana nah keniyat nityatya loka ishtaha sacha nityatvat na avidya nivritti vyatirekena anya sadhana nishpadya. Now here he is explaining that why it is not. The three worlds are transitory and attainable means by desirable for us to whom the desirable world is natural. But the birthless ajaha, ajaraha, amritaha, abhayaha na vardade karmana cannot be attained through karmana. Na kaniyat anityascha lokaha ishtaha. Neither increases or not decreases through work. And that such a nityatva, that is eternal, and being eternal, it is not to be secured by means of other than cessation of all the ignorance. Avidya nivritti vyadirakena, that is the only method in which word sadhana nishpadyata, sadhana nishpadyata anyasa. Now here he is bringing this avidya vyatirekena sadhana nishpadyata, because now he will be bringing the term purusha tantra karma vastu tantra aspect in the later part of this thing, to know that here these explanations are that whatever is in the beginning of a time and what is ending in time cannot give rise to a anitya loka, which is ajaha, ajara, amritaha, abhaya. That is what is called nitya, eternal. Eternity is defined by ajaha means unborn, birthless. Ajaraha means no jara or decay. Amritaha means deathless. And abhaya means there is no fear from anything other than that, because nothing else is there. Ekatvam anuvashyata iti isti. So this is not a karmana vardate. It is not attained by through karma. Tasma, therefore, pratyekatma brahma vijnana purvakah sarva eshana sannyasah eva kartavyah. So those who are desirable of Brahma, Pratyeka Atma, that very Atma in us, residing in us, or what we think that residing in us, actually it is our true nature. Therefore it is mentioned as Pratyeka Atma. And that is nothing other than Brahma Vijnana. Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. There is no difference between the Jiva and Brahma on that. For that, Purvakaha means before that, Pratyekatma Vijnana Purvakaha, Sarva Yeshana Sannyasa Eva Kartavya. Kartavya means it's a vidhi. It has to be done. Only when you do the Sarva Yeshana Sannyasa. Sarva Yeshana means Yeshana Trayam. Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshana. Which is for progeny, for wealth, and for recognition of world. Ihamutra Phalavoga Viragam. That is Ihamutra Phalam. That is in this world and the world like Pitruloka, Brahmaloka, Devaloka, all those location, all the three, when you abandon, when you denounce that, is the only method in which Pratyeka Brahma Vijnana Purva is required, Brahma Vijnana. So then the explanation comes, how is it important? Jnana karma viroda pradarshana. That he now need to explain this, because the Vedic people are not willing to accept Shankara's statement, because Pratyekatma Vijnana Purvakam Yeshana Sannyasa Eva Kartavya. If that statement is made that before Brahmajnana you have to do all those Yeshana Tyaga, how is this possible? Then what will we do for? Because we only know karma. We have been lifelong, we have been doing only karma for attaining putra, attaining cow, attaining surga or vitta. All those things we only know that the result of action is only what gets us fruit. But how does that happen if we have abandoned all of them? Then how can there be an attainment of something when karma is sitting? If the karma has to be done for any fruit, there should be a karma required even for jnana. Now jnana phalam, that is pratyekatma vijnana vishaya, that is a phala. Here he is mentioning that pratyekatma brahma vijnanam is the phalam. For that there should be a karma. Shankara says no. Jnana karma viroda pradarshanam. Jnana and karma are mutually exclusive, independent. It is totally against, one is against other. How? He explains. Karma sahabhavitva virodat. Karma and jnana cannot be sahabhavi, cannot coexist. Cha pratyekatma brahma vijnanasya karma sahitatva sahabhavitva viroda. Pratyekatma brahma vijnanam and karma can never coexist. Nahi upatta karaka phala veda vijnanena karmana pratyastamidam sarva veda darshanasya pratyekatma brahma vijnanasya sahabhavitvam upapadyate vastu pradhanye sati apurushatandratvat vijna brahma vijnanasya. Now what does he say? Upatta karma karaka phala veda vijnanena karmana pratyastamidam sarva veda darshanasya. So what is the karmana pratyastamid sarva veda darshanasya? If karma is upholding sarva vedana darshanam, and sarva veda darshanasya karanameva karmana, therefore veda vijnanena karaka phalam utpatta. That besides the knowledge of the identity of the indwelling self and the Brahman militates, means opposes each other, it's coexistent with work, because the realization of the identity of self and Brahman, which eradicates all dual ideas, cannot reasonably coexist with work. And what is work? Which presupposes the ideas of difference and of agents and results. For the object being a deciding factor, realization of Brahman is not determined by human effort. Now we'll come to that. So what happens is pratyekatma Brahma vishayasya sahabhavitvam upapadyate. It is refuting that karmanaha and pratyekatma Brahma vijnana vishaya cannot coexist. Karanam kim? Vastu pradhanye sati. Because that is a vastu. Vastu here means an existent reality. And that existent reality is Brahma and Atma Brahma, Pratyekatma Brahma. That vastu is not generated because of a Purusha Tantra. Because vastu pradhanya sati apurusha tantratvat. If it is a Purusha Tantratvat, then there is a karma and karaka and then phala. All those three are required for a Purusha Tantra. Now there is no karma required because there is no karaka required for it. Because vastu, for a fire to exist, the fire's nature is its own nature. The nature of fire is not created by a karma. The fire may be created out of karma, but the nature or the vastu tantram, that is where the vastu tantram should be understood. The Atma or Brahma is nothing but a vastu, and therefore vastu tantra means not the tantra which we talk about in the tantra and mantra yoga, that those things. Here mantra tantra means that the definition, the nature in which, you know, that an object is existing. For example, the fire has got the nature of heat and light. That of water has got wetting capacity and flowing. That it is not rigid like, you know, a stone or anything. It is flowing always in condition. So taralata and shita, that is the nature of water, and fire has got ushna and teja. So these are all the vastu tantram, means when the definition, the nature of a vastu. Same is the case for even pratyekatma Brahma. The Brahma or the Atma is what it is. It is not a object which is created due to jnana. The fire is not generated as a combination of light and heat to create a fire. No. The moment there is a fire, the nature of light and heat comes from itself, and because that is the vastu swabhava. Same way, the nature of water to flow is not a product of a creation or an action, karma, karaka, phala. These three things are not required for the nature of water to be water. Same is the case for pratyekatma Brahma Vishaya. It is also not a after effect of an action. It is the nature of it. So this is the reason why karma and jnana are asahabhavitvam. Sahabhavitvam cannot coexist. Saha means together, bhavitvam means existence. Sahabhavitvam means coexistence of jnana karma cannot coexist. We are talking about the jnana here is pratyagatma brahma jnana, vishaya vijnana brahma vijnanasya, not the jnanas of objective world. Objective world is due to the karma karaka phala. Therefore there is a karma and cause for it, and there is a result phala for it. Therefore it is a product of avidya, because we see the separatedness from the doer, the object as separate from it. Therefore there is an activity, and therefore there is a beginning of a correction, there is a cause for it, cause and effect, and the result for it. All those things are part of that. But Brahma Vijnana is not a product out of any activity, because Vastu Pradhanyena. There is the reason why it has to be importantly understood. Keep this aspect always in mind, that it is not generated due to even Tyaga, meditation, Jnana, Upanishad, Vedana, Stravana, Manana, Nididhyasanena. All those things are not generating what something called Atma Jnana or Atma Brahma Jnana. The Jnana is the Swarupa of Atma and Brahma. What happens is, when the Ajnana Nivritti Karanena, when that Jnana Prakashatya Pradarsanasya, Bhada, when you remove it, when that the Atma to shine from within, it is there always shining, Sandaryami. That is always shining there, and it is the reason why we are experiencing everything in the world outside. Tasya vasa sarvamidam vibhati. It is that because of which we are knowing everything. This knowing and doing and everything is happening due to an avidya separating that our nature as knowing, or the awareness. When it is conditioned through the mind which is contaminated by avidya kama karma, the separation takes place as a karta bhokta, and we end up in doing karma for achieving. The same thing which reversely we think, even for knowing Atma, we need to do karma, like Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. No. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, etc. are done for removing the contamination or impurities in the mind, and in a pure mind, when the mind is nischala, pure, amani bhava, swayam prakashate, because that is the nature of jnana. Jnana shines by itself. So now, having explained that aspect, the karma is not the reason for knowledge. How can such a knowledge be generated when there is no activity required for it? The question can be very intriguing for people who are logically thinking. If we don't have to do anything, how can that knowledge happen by itself? There must be something we should do. This has prompted a lot of people later to Shankara's period to get into Yoga Vedanta and meditation and avidya, nirakaranam. All those things have taken up as a big issue. But Shankaracharya never advocates any action. Jnana samakale eva. That's all he says. If the knowledge has been understood, you are mukta. Jnanena eva tu kaivalyam. That jnana is the reason you are getting a kevalata. And that jnanasya nivarti, ajnanasya nivarti eva tasya karanam. Like removing the dirt on the mirror can reflect. Same way, the avidya, when avidya kama karma and the results of that, when it is removed from the mind, we think. So how do we do that, avidya kama karma niti? For that there is a requirement of action. Tasmat drishtadrishtebhyoh ब्रह्म साधन साध्येभ्यो विरक्तस्य प्रत्यगात्म विषया ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा इयं केनेषितम् इत्यादि श्रुत्या प्रदर्श्यते. Now, one who is desiring to know the indwelling self and there is no activity required, in the case of the man who has renounced and seen and unseen, drishta drishtebhyah, seen and unseen results, attainable by external, bahya sadhana sadhyebhyoh. By external means by doing all the injunctions what has been given in the Shastras. From that, viraktasya, one who has renounced all of them, pratyagatma vishaya, that this is the subject, pratyagatma vishaya, which is also brahma jitnyasa. To know that pratyagatma vishaya, the one who has a desire to know, he is known as brahma jitnyasu or mumukshu. So for that, the Shruti starts Keneshitam ityadi. Now, why is it that it is starting that way? Shishyacharya prashna prativajana rupena kathanam tu sushma vastu vishayatvat sukha pratipatti karanam bhavati. Kevala tarka gamyatvam cha tarka agamyatvam cha pradarshidam bhavati. Shishyacharya, Shishya and Acharya, the dual, that is the teacher and the student. Prashna prativachana rupena, the question prashna prativachana means answer, rupena in the form of prajavana. Kathanam is that this keneshitam, starting with keneshitam, is in the form of prashna prativachana rupa. Karanam tu sushma vastu vishayatvat, because the vastu vishayam here, vastu pradanyam is mentioned, that the knowledge is vastu pradanyam, is to know about a vastu. The nature of the vastu is not palatable nor accessible with our mind or the sense organs. Sushma vastu vishayatvat. And sukha pratipatti karanam bhavati. That results in the sukha pratipatti, is the where that when that is realized, sukha pratipatti bhavati. That happens because when the knowledge of the sushma vastu is happening, you attain the sukha. Sukham here means anandam, and the cause for that is that kevala tarka agamyatvam cha pradarshidam bhavati. It is also by that some people can think, if can it be achieved by logic alone or scrutinizing in the dialectics or the very very minute level of which is basically he is refuting here the idea what the Tarkika and Vaisheshika, Nyaya Vaisheshika has got. They get into finer aspects of analysis to find out the reality, but that is all Bahya Vastu. And to provide what he said is that it is not Sushma Vastu asti, not attainable by Kevala Tarka Agamyatvam. He is quoting now here the Shruti Vakyas. Nesha Tarkena Madirabaneya, the Kenopanishad, which we have seen it not in the Bhashya style, but in the earlier thing. Acharyavan Purusho Veda, Chandogya Upanishad. Acharyat vai vidya vidita sadidam prapat iti tad viddi pranipradena. That is the Bhagavad Gita shlokam, and the earlier two are Chandogya. Ityadi shruti smriti niyamascha kaschit gurum brahmanishtam vidivat upetya प्रत्यगात्म विषयत्वात् अन्यत्र शरणम् अपश्यन् अभयं नित्यं शिवम् अचलम् इच्छन् प्रप्रच्छेति कल्प्यते केनेषितम् इत्यादि. So in the Shruti Smriti niyamah asti, niyamaha cha, what is tadviddi pranibadena sa gurumeva bigacche samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. We saw it in the last class. So he should achieve to know that this being very subtle in the nature cannot be grasped with our normal understanding. So he should approach a guru who is a Brahmanishta. Vidivat, it means there is a method in which you have to apply that sadhana sampanna, the adhikaritvam is the reason why the word vidivat is the used here, which shows that he should be viveka vairagya samadhi shat sambatti mumukshutva yukta. I mean, all those things should be the qualities of the student, and such a student should approach a guru who is a brahmanishta upetya pratyagatma vishayat. Now he should be approaching for the purpose of pratyagatma vishayat anyatra sharanam apashyan, because he can't see that this cannot be attained anywhere else. All other places the knowledge is about the world of objects and the world outside, but the atma vishaya has never been a subject which is taught generally to the public anywhere, anything. So anyatra sharanam apashyan, not having seen this anywhere else. What is that pratyagatma vishaya? Abhayam nityam shivam achalam ichan. These are the outcome of that vishayam, pratyagatma vishayam. You become fearless because yatra dvaitam iva bhavati tada idara idaram pashyati dvitiyad vai bhayam bhavati. From the second one you can always have it. When there is no second one, you are in a state of abhayam, advitiyatvat. Nityam, because aja na jayate mriyate va katachit, there is no birth or death. We have studied this in detail in the Mandukya also. So Atma is Nityaha. And Shivam, Tebhyo vilakshana satvi chinmatroham sada Shivam. That I am the nature of Shivam. Achalam means there is no way it can move anywhere. Tadejati tannejati. In the Ishavasya Upanishad it is mentioned that it moves, it doesn't move. Apanipado javano grahida pashyatya chakshusya shrunotya karna. All those things are in the Sheta Uttara Upanishad also. So what this abhayam nityam shivam achalam is the nature of pratyagatma vishaya. That cannot be attained anywhere else. Anyatra sharanam, anyatra apashyan. That gurum sharanam prapadya pravachedi. The disciple asks for the knowledge of this abhay nityam achalam ichan. Therefore kalpyate keneshitam ityadi. So the subject is now being presented by the shruti to us for an easy understanding as a dialogue between a brahmanishta guru and a shishya who has the desire to know the name Brahma Pratyagatma Vishaya. So the student is apt, the teacher is qualified, and the dialogue between the teacher and the student is presented by the Shruti to us, so that we follow the same thought process of the Shishya and try to understand when the Brahmanishta Guru is being explained through the Shruti. So the Shruti is standing for the Brahmanishta Guru as well as Shishya, and taking the role of both of them, putting the words as if spoken by the Guru and the Shishya. The Upanishad is being presented to us, and this is exactly where the Keneshitam starts, and starts the first mantra. Om Keneshitam padati prekshitam manaha kena pranas pratama preiti yuktaha keneshitam vacha mimam vadanti chakshushotram kahu devo yunakti. Kena. The kena means by whom. Kena ishitam. So we are splitting that. Kena ishitam becomes keneshitam. Ishitam means desired. Ish dhatu. Also preshitam manaha. Preshitam means here the upasarga pra is added to the same ishitam. So when it is ishitam, it is desired, but when the suffix pra comes for that, it becomes directed towards pra purvavat. Now all this word ishitam and preshitam is a great dispute and this dialogue between the opponent and Shankaracharya in the subsequent Bhashya. So I'm not wasting my time on explaining this, which we'll see it in detail when they go into that objection and answers into the Bhashya. Manaha, mind. Patati means here is gatyartham. Therefore it moves into the objects, or moving from one object to another object. No. Kena, by yuktaha, by engaged by. Now here the word yuktaha is used for there is a connection between the manaha and prana. That is why the word yuktaha is used here, because both the mind and the prana are the two aspects of the same stuff. Like the fire and the heat and the light of the fire, one projects the knowledge, one is doing the activity of heating. Here mana is the one which projects the knowledge or knowing principle, and prana is the activity part of it, like pancha prana, by in the 5 forms. Both are not separate. It is Ichcha Shakti and Kriya Shakti of one entity. Therefore, the word Yuktaha is Kena Yuktaha Pratama Pranaha is the question. Praiti, proceeds. Now, proceeds from, that is showing the activity, Praiti, towards the object. So, when the prana through the Indriyas are working towards, then the mind is the one which goes out for the knowledge part of it. But the activity for the projection has to be a combined effect of the prana and the mind. Kena ishitam vadanti imam vacham. Imam vacham kena ishitam vadanti. Decide by whom? Here the ishitam is again by decide by whom. Imam vacham, these words which I am asking you, these very questions I am asking you, is the desire of whose desire is that? Who has the desire to ask this question? Is it my physical body? Is it my mind? Or is it, is it something else, or the Deva? Is there any other divine entity which is forcing from outside? Adi Bodhiga, Adhyatma and Adi Daivika, all these type of Shaktis he knows. The student is a very well qualified student. He has studied all the Shastras. He knows the method of the Shastras. He knows every detail of it. Yet, he is yet to find out what is the prime factor which is pushing me to ask you these questions. Kena imam vacham peshitam ishitam vadanti kahu devo yunakti. When this knowledge comes back from the object, the prana propelled and the mind went to the object and grasped about the object, and when it comes back to the inside, to me again as a knowledge, kavu devo yunakti, which is that deva which unites, because eyes are giving light, ears are giving sound, but I have a totality of my experience in me. So there must be a power or a designer inside working, or is it a deva who is uniting these different inputs, chakshu shotram, by the eyes and the ears, when they bring different sensory inputs from the world outside. Is it, but I get a totality of the experience, an animal crying, or a baby crying, or a sound being produced, or somebody calling me. the sound is coming from side. I am also seeing the person who is calling me. I have no doubt between who is calling me and what is my sound I am hearing. There is some sort of a unification of the light and sound inside me. And what is that which is that deva which is uniting these two to for me to have the totality of the experience? This is the literal meaning of the mantra here. Willed by whom does the directed mind go towards the object? Being directed by whom does the vital force that precedes all proceed towards? And by whom is this speech willed at people utter? Who is the effulgent being who directs the eyes and ears? So now the Padavashyam, we will take it from the next class, because here onwards it is exactly in the words of Shankara this will be explained. What explained here I have given now is the literal word by word meaning and explanation to that. Now next class we will see the Padavashyam starting from Kena Ishidam. Kena Karta Ishidam Ishtam. Ishidam means Ishtam. Abhipredam san Manaha Padati Athava Gacchati So Vishayam Prati Iti Sambadhyate Ityadi. We will start with that in the next class. Any questions? Okay. So ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ